Hey everybody, welcome back to My Sixth Sense. Man, I am really excited to let me just say real quick, be back. I have had quite the journey over the last couple of weeks. I haven't been feeling well, and after a couple ER visits and no help there, I wasn't any closer to figuring out what was wrong. I was just nauseous like all the time. I mean, like all day, every day. Nothing was helping. Nothing was doing anything. I wasn't able to eat. I lost about 27 pounds. Anyway, had a GI appointment, and hopefully we're just one step closer to figuring this out. I am so thankful to just be a little bit better. I'm not 100%, but I am. I'm feeling good right now. So good enough to finally do something I enjoy. I haven't really been able to do anything that I enjoy except for being stuck on the couch and not eating at all. So a couple things happened while I was down and out that I just kind of wanted to talk about. I saw a lot going on online that I guess still with the TDS, but what I think it was a week ago, maybe a little longer. There was a stabbing in Texas. Two kids were involved. One kid was a twin, and he died. The only things that we know, like right now, are that one kid is dead and the other kid admitted to stabbing him and said it was self-defense. That's it. That's all we know. But of course, we've got the race baiters out in full effect, both from the I don't even know what you'd call it, the Fox News bros and the CNN crowd trying to defend their positions on this. There's really no position to be in. We don't know anything. I've seen comparisons. To um Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't even. That's not even remotely. You can't compare the two. One's been to trial and was Kyle Rittenhouse's. It was provably self-defense. I mean, it's just like it's provable. They argued it that way. There was video evidence. Even the people involved um, were admittedly pointing guns at him, and he was under threat and duress. And so you just hope that um, this child's lawyers can argue the same thing. But we as adults shouldn't hold judgment until we really kind of know what's going on. I never really understood that. As soon as I saw the picture of the two people involved, I figured that this would happen. I figured there's just no way around it. For some reason, I'm not terribly sure why, race relations in this country are at an all-time low. This comes on the heels of having an African American president for 2 terms, and no one can really give me a solid answer on that. But regardless of their skin color, we don't know anything. And it's, again, back to being of age and adult. It's best to not judge. I really thought we were an innocent until proven guilty country. We also are a country that consumes a lot of social media and different perspectives, shall we say. And we've known that a lot of sometimes these perspectives are very propagandized, like all the time. So we need to let cooler heads prevail. And as for GoFundMe, I really do think it was a bad idea for them to take down the fundraiser for Karmelo. I understand that he's a murder suspect, but they should still be able to fundraise. Fortunately, there is another site. I think it's Give Send Go. They have a fundraiser that is still up for Karmelo, which I think is fine. I don't understand why that's even a problem. Let people spend their money how they want to spend their money. If they want to donate, if they feel like this cause is the righteous cause, then so be it. You also have a fundraiser for Austin Metcalf. So spend your money how you want. This is a free country, but remember, like, passing these judgments are crazy. We don't know what the situation was. We don't really know. I've seen things. People have told me that, ask me questions like, well, what kind of linebacker plays track? Like, it doesn't matter what kind of linebacker plays track, or if a football player plays track or runs track. I mean, it doesn't matter. The situation truly is one kid's dead. Let's figure out what happened. And if it is self-defense, this child should be free. I don't see any other way around it. The same thing happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. Might you remember? Excuse me. He was guilty until proven innocent. I mean, it was a wild time. CNN got sued for millions and millions of dollars for defaming him. And I thought we should have learned our lesson by then. There are people that are still, I'm pretty sure it's the same people who still think the Russian collusion was a real thing. They can't apparently read the Durham report or the Nunes memo. They're incapable of doing either of those and still believe that. It's probably the same people that are having trouble with the Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, do I believe that he should be made a hero? No, I don't think Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero by any means. But at the same time, he was proven innocent. There's still civil cases going on, so we don't know the outcome of those yet. But like I said, there's so much hatred on both sides, and it's like, none of it has to do with factual information. It all has to do with the color of these kids' skin, which is insane. And this is where people make their money, dude. People make their money taking sides on racial issues when racial issues, you know what? Again, I've seen pictures from both sides. I've seen one where they call Karmelo a thug. We don't know that. And then we see a picture with Austin Metcalf like in camo in hunting gear. And it's like, well, he obviously hates black people. It's like, okay, what are we talking about? It's so silly. I mean, this kid is dead. Does someone here know more than me, or is there something that I'm just unaware of and can't wrap my head around it? The only Ground News has been an okay spot to try to find information on this. But really the only factual information that we have right now is worth repeating. Austin was stabbed by Karmelo. I guess he was in the wrong tent, the other school's tent at the track. And I guess Austin put his hands, or I guess we're not really sure if he put his hands on Karmelo, but Karmelo is quoted as saying, "Put your hands on me again and you'll see what happens." Carmelo's already admitted to this, but he says that it's self-defense, and it very much could be. We just don't know. So give it time. Let the process work itself out. Donate if you want to donate. He is going to need a good team of lawyers around him to navigate him through this. This is a huge deal, but not for the reason that the news is making it. The news is making it all about race. I think it's because they've run out of things to talk about with Donald Trump. That's my thought. That's my theory. Or they're, what's the guy? There was not Jesse Jackson. Golly. Al Sharpton. Maybe he's running out of money and needs another tragedy to leech onto. What did Obama's chief of staff say? Never let a good tragedy go to waste. So please, again, let's find out some facts. Let's wait. Donate to whomever you want to donate if that's something you want to do. But outside of that, we just don't know yet. Just like we didn't know with Kyle Rittenhouse. His lawyers he was able to raise a good bit of money. His lawyers were able to argue the correct way. They were able to show the jury that this was in self-defense. And he was found not guilty. So again, this could just happen again. And I know what's going to happen if it doesn't come out the way it did with Kyle Rittenhouse. It's just going to be a hard road to navigate, because instead of it being like, okay, the jurors saw that it wasn't self-defense, it's not going to be like, okay, the justice system worked. It's going to be something completely different, which is, again, it's sad that we've gotten to this point. And I'm not saying that we're not at that point in some respects of the justice system. It has not worked well for African Americans for a very, very long time. Criminal justice reform is something that needs to happen to begin with, but It's always interesting to me when it turns out bad for, well, we're not even going to go into that. That's not even worth discussing because it's ridiculous. Hold on one second. I'm just going to look into this. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's just going to be a long process. And again, I don't want to keep repeating myself because there's just something else I do want to get to. We just need to be adults and keep a level head. And it's not all about race. Maybe just this time. Maybe it's just, we don't know. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We just, again, we don't know. So there's my thought process on the murder right outside of Dallas. I'll actually, one more thing. The last case that I wanted to talk about. There was a case. Let me find it real quick because I had it saved. Okay. The last murder in that county, which it doesn't happen very often. Maybe I guess I didn't. I didn't save it, but it was a homicide. It was a white guy killed his girlfriend and unborn child and claimed self-defense, and that was on like March 18th. So it wasn't that long before. You heard nothing about it. Do you see what I'm saying here? Anyway, there's that. What I really wanted to talk about. I listen. I'm kind of a big Dave Smith fan. Over the last year or so, some of the episodes are a little meh. I feel like he's been getting some wealth, which is great. Making money is great, but I think that also kind of makes sometimes his views a little, I don't know. I'm not going to say elitist, but they don't really coincide with either what I believe all the time, or it's like this doesn't make much sense to me. But every time he goes on Joe Rogan, I enjoy listening to those episodes. He was on Joe Rogan. I listened to that episode in and out. Kind of having trouble keeping my eyes open during that last couple weeks, but then a couple days later, I noticed, oh, Dave Smith again. That's very strange. Well, he is debating Douglas Murray, who is, in my opinion, seems like he'd be a good match for Dave. He knows his stuff from what it seems like all the videos posted. He does come off as a little arrogant, and that's due to, I would say, his accent. His accent does sound like kind of posh British, and it is a little, I don't know, a little arrogant, I guess. So I think that they've been trying to do this for quite some time, and I know that Dave Smith has kind of called him out a few times. And again, Dave Smith goes into great detail about why he won't debate some people because they're not on his level, and I'm sure Douglas Murray felt that Dave Smith wasn't really on his level. And they debated a wide range of things from Israel to Ukraine to Iran, and to be honest, I don't really know who won the debate. I know this though: Douglas Murray lost for himself. He's the he opened up. He opened up the debate by like chastising Joe Rogan, which does not make any sense to me. By letting his viewers or his listeners know that he doesn't think that Rogan brings on enough opposition to the Palestinian argument, which I don't necessarily think is true. He's had Ben Shapiro on. He's had a bunch of people on that are pro-Israel, and it's not up. Joe answered. Joe kept a pretty calm head for the way that he was acting. Which I thought was a kind of a challenging task because Douglas Murray spent a majority of the time just logical fallacy after logical fallacy over and over and over again. And listen, one of his main things was he asked a question, which, I sometimes think about it. It's like, he's like, well, have you ever been there? I'm going to, honestly try to find, okay. Yeah. Okay. Main point is he was like, have you ever been to any of these crossing points? Have you been on the ground of where you speak? And Dave Smith's like, no, I have not. And he's like, well, how can you possibly talk about it then? And it's like, wait, hold on one second. So because he hasn't been to Israel or seen a crossing point, he can't speak to what he's read by the World Health Organization or books that you've read, or so you have to. It's such an elitist like thing to. It's like, okay, Douglas Murray, like, great, you've been there. Your points don't make much sense. You never. Dave Smith would say something, would bring an argument to the table, like, hey, listen, like, I understand that we need to kill Hamas. We understand that, but by launching a missile into a building and killing innocent women and children, you're making that decision. He said, if you if somebody came and killed your family and you went to go, you're like, well, I'm now going to have to kill this guy, right? Just like in general. And you watch this guy walk into an apartment complex, and instead of going to get him, what you do is you blow up the apartment complex. You would be tried for first-degree murder, on capital murder, on multiple accounts. And then when you go, well, yeah, I was just trying to get this one guy. It's like, yeah, but you made a conscious decision to launch a missile or blow up a building with hundreds of people in it to get one guy, and you have to take responsibility for that. And Murray's like, well, that's just war. And it's like, okay, but you don't have, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, your position, you either have to accept that and say that this is happening and we are doing this, or just stop, um and then he did a bunch of stuff, like picking on, like, okay, I have a friend that does this, but sometimes we'll be having a conversation and he becomes like the word police. Like, we're at war. And he's like, you're not at war. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, your country is at war. He's like, okay, sure. Our country is at war. Like, it was just these weird, it was so strange. I had this funny clip here that I kind of wanted to share. Here, let me share it. I found it on Twitter, but I posted it. This is Douglas Murray versus Douglas Murray. The Douglas Murray that was on Joe Rogan is the one that's saying, he's talking about, have you ever been there? Okay. All right. So basically, that's Douglas Murray. I'm going to say years earlier, because he has blonde hair now. He used to have brown hair. Debating the new Douglas Murray, who believes that shared experiences are the only way to become an expert. It's just the most elitist thing I've heard in a long time. I felt like of the two people that were debating, Dave Smith had some decent arguments, and Douglas Murray just said a whole bunch of absolutely nothing. And he was on he doesn't I don't think he realized, like, he was kind of on the back foot from the beginning. Like, you don't get on a big platform and then start, like, I don't, if you have a chance, you listen to the first 10 minutes, you're like, is this dude really about to, like, just not have any good faith arguments? Like, all he's going to do is just, like, act like because Dave Smith hasn't been there, he can't have a formed opinion. And it's like, what is it that you're, all these points you're making? If you listen to it, Dave Smith will say a point, and then Douglas Murray goes on these long-winded counterpoints that end with nothing. It's like it's supposed to be a circle, but it's just a straight line into the abyss of nothing. And I saw on Twitter, you see one guy who's a comedian who has no clue what he wants about, and another who's an expert. He's got an English degree. So what's his expertise? I don't understand. Oh, sure, he's been there. Great. So he's about as much as an expert as Dave Smith. They both just have opinions. And they've both been platformed, which is something that Douglas Murray talks about. He's like, I can't believe you're platforming these people who have absolutely no clue what's going on. And it's like, it doesn't mean they don't have any idea what's going on. They just have a different opinion than you. And can you take on those arguments and defend your own? And if you can't, then it's nonsense. All you're saying is condescending nonsense, which is almost exactly what the entire episode was. Yeah, and I mean, listen, so it comes, I don't know, it comes from a guy, Douglas Murray, who he was in favor of the Iraq War. He was in favor of invading Afghanistan. He was in favor of all these neoconservative, those neocon wars. He said they were great, that democracy would sweep the region. So he's not an expert? I don't understand. An article that he released in 2006 entitled Neoconservatism, Why We Need It, is the now resident expert on foreign policy, which I guess we can get into it. You want to get into U.S. foreign policy? I can't stand that when these elites act like, well, you don't have any. I heard it on the debate stage with Vivek. This feels like so long ago. It was not that long ago. Last year when they were like, you have no foreign policy experience. And, oh, okay. What is yours? Like, what? Show me the gold medal moment for your foreign policy. Was it Libya? Was it Iraq? Was it Afghanistan? Was it Yemen? Can you name one? Is it your just amazing ability to just fund Israel all the time and just pretty much do whatever it is that they want to do? We haven't in the last 20 years made any decent foreign policy decisions in 2 decades. And yet we somehow still have experts on foreign policy who will look down upon you for having a different opinion in them as them. To me, that's amazing. To me, I keep saying a lot. I can't stop. To me, that's a crazy thing to think. You got us stuck in a 20-year war. We withdrew from Afghanistan, leaving the Taliban in charge, leaving Iraq in charge. Who was in charge of Iraq? Now who is in charge of Syria? Like, I mean, all of these places that are foreign policy, Ukraine, moving NATO farther and farther and farther east. What foreign policy? We're not a country that's we've made a habit to just destroy any country we go and try to help, with air quotes, because they don't need help, with air quotes. I can read the little snippet from this. Douglas Murray talked about his book Neoconservatism, Why We Need It, published by Encounter Books. British commentator Murray talked about the movement that replaced the Great Society liberalism, helped Ronald Reagan bring down the Berlin Wall, and provided the intellectual rationale for the Bush administration's effort to eliminate global terrorism. While it is being blamed for foreign policy failures, Mr. Murray argued that the West needs neoconservatism more than ever. In addition to explaining what neoconservatism is and where it came from, he said that this American-born response to the failed policies of the 1960s is the best approach to foreign affairs, not only for the United States, but also for Britain and the West as well. After his presentation, he responded to audience members' questions. Okay, so here's just another one. I'm just gonna we'll respond to a couple of these videos. I'm not a high budget producer guy. Got to do this myself here. Okay, so here.
People who
Grok Beta. Did Derek Cooper say he couldn't debate Andrew Roberts or wanted a later debate? I want to quote, be concise. Derek Cooper didn't say he couldn't debate Andrew Roberts. He expressed preference for a later debate, stating in a September 26, 2024 Substack post, given the noise that all this created, he would prefer to let his work speak for itself when it's actually finished. So then a proper debate on the subject can be held. We're on straw man number 8.
But I'm going to spend my time
straw man number 9. This is exactly what Douglas Murray is. He is not any of those, yet he still talks about it. Here we go. See?
Keep referring to
we.
Somebody said,
sorry, I hit the button.
The problem, Joe.
He's not. Anyway. So this was a 3-hour debate, and it almost went exactly what you're listening to. That was where, if you're not watching and listening, that's a straw man number 12 that we're on. So I'm not saying Dave Smith did awesome. But Douglas Murray did terrible. What you've just heard, 3 hours of the same stuff. If you got the sense that he was acting elitist and like he would engage with Dave for just a second and then like turn to Joe to be like, Joe, this is the problem. It's like, hold on, why can't you just address what you were asked? Or what he kept picking apart these little things that didn't matter and didn't help his position. And I truly, the only position I walked away from that debate knowing was that Douglas Murray will defend Israel no matter what, no matter what they do, no matter any policy decisions they make. Douglas Murray is just a super fan of Israel, which listen, I have no problem with Israel existing, no problem at all. I do have a problem with bombing a country into actual oblivion and then acting as if, hey, listen, we're here to find terrorists. Like, okay, well, you have just radicalized 90% of said area, and it's like banging your head against the wall and accepting the same result. I don't know. That's called insanity, correct? Because that's what this is, and that's really the only position. He believes that Russia's going to constitute the USSR again, which is like insane. It can either be one of two things. One, Russia is not capable of reaching Kiev, right? I mean, they just can't get there; they're not powerful enough. Or two, they're so powerful that they're going to reconstitute the USSR and invade Poland. Right? And he can't even admit that, like, listen, we do know Russia was wrong. Russia was wrong for invading. We can all get on board with that. We do know that Russia did invade Ukraine. Bad. But we did push them. We did enough pushing. We're not saying that it's the fault doesn't lie on Russia. What we're saying is this all could have been, all of these arguments, all of this could be prevented. But because we're foreign policy geniuses in this country, and I do mean geniuses, I honestly can't even remember the lady who was running for the Republican nominee. What was her name? Let me look it up real quick. It's going to, as soon as I see it. Who was the Nikki Haley? Oh my gosh. She's the one that said that to Vivek. She said, what's your foreign policy experience? Dude, she's a neocon that wants to bomb every country that can possibly defend itself in the Middle East. That's your foreign policy? And now, not to get kind of off topic. Well, it's not off topic. It's on topic because it was in the interview. It was in the debate. And now we're talking about going to Iran. Ron Paul is so right. It's something about the White House where people get in it and they forget everything they've ever said to anyone. It's something about the White House breeds war dogs. It's so strange. I mean, he's fallen back on I'll end the. I understand these things can be more complicated than just like ending them, but you got to give us a reasonable expectation here, right? You can't expect everything from every president. We got a big dumper from Biden, and we would have gotten an even bigger dumper from Kamala. Trump one wasn't super great, if you guys remember, kind of a big dumper. And we are seeing things kind of on the mend, but it's like, why are we taking 2 steps forward, or let's reverse it, 1 step forward and 2 steps back, and acting like it's progress, right? Why are we acting like Doge is finding money and saving us money when all we're doing is increasing our deficit? Does he think that everyone doesn't see this or see through this? It's like, oh, we're gonna tot another couple $1 trillion to the defense budget. We don't want that. No one voted for you for that. We voted for smaller government, which is what the conservatives have been talking about for the last 100 billion years, or however long Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell have been Congress or senators. So what, 350 years? We've been asking these parties to actually do something they say they're going to do. I mean, for goodness sakes, the left runs on equality and they are for African Americans. They have done nothing for that community for years and years and years and years. Right? They're always anti-war, against the man, for unions. They're none of that. They are for war. We just watched the Wisconsin the Wisconsin election with that judge. And they're like, oh, the Republicans have their billionaire down there, Elon Musk. Do we know who the other people funding the left was? Soros and another billionaire. What are we talking about? And then you got the right, who's been, oh, we're conservatives. We want smaller government. We need to, slow down entitlements or what, you haven't done any of that. In fact, every year it's more and more and more and more and more. And all they do is they gaslight every single person in this country to make them think that they're doing something right. So they get up in front of the TV and they say things like, they give these gotcha moments on, when they're having these interviews with different jamokes. It's just like the NPR lady. It's like, yeah, great. She's up there. What are you going to do? I'm sure NPR is going to get refunded, right? All these things. Every time you look at some replay from C-SPAN where the, Howley or AOC or Bernie or whomever is going after somebody, it's like, oh, wow. They kind of think like us. No, they don't. They don't think like you. They're doing that so that it looks like they're doing something, because nothing changes. We are living in a circus, a circus where the wealthiest control all the politicians, and a lot of them don't have our best interest in mind. Our foreign policy is a joke. And you get people like Douglas Murray who act like they know everything and speak like they know everything, and in the same breath know nothing. And just like Dave Smith says, he's like, listen, I'll take your expert opinions on COVID back then versus mine, and mine will win every time, which they did, which they do. You don't have to be an expert to be like, COVID was kind of ridiculous and nothing they did helped. Nothing. And to be like, it can't, we're not even going to get into COVID. I'm just saying all of this stems from this kind of elitist behavior where we have to listen to experts that nobody else out there, no matter what the facts are, the actual facts, these don't matter to people. It's the strangest thing. And that's how they're able to get these people so polarized on one side or the other, right? Every single debate is so polarizing because it's like DEI is polarizing, abortion's polarizing, gun ownership is polarizing. Have they done anything? No, nothing. They just made weird gun laws that prevent. Has it stopped anything? Has any left-leaning city created a law that has stopped more murders or more gun deaths? Like, no, because it doesn't work. We've got a real life mental health crisis in this country and a drug problem in this country. And what are we doing? We're sending billions of dollars to countries that just get us involved in shit we don't need to be involved in. We don't need to be involved in Ukraine, period. And if you can give me some good reason why that's not, oh, well, we promised them we'd have their back. Yeah, we promised Russia we wouldn't move farther east about 30 years prior. So sure, which one of those trumps which one? I don't know. Why do we have to be involved so much? Why does every congressperson have 10 AIPAC lobbyists around them? Why is everything Israel does something we have to agree with? Like, fix it, dude. I'm starting to get really sick and tired of, again, I will go back to my last post those many moons ago before I got sick. I'm tired of seeing babies being pulled out of rubble, as I assume anyone with a decent sized heart would agree with me. Fix the situation. Wesley Clark with this whole, 5 wars in 7 years or 7 wars in 5 years, whichever one it was. I mean, do you know who advocated for most of those wars? The Likud party. Netanyahu told us that if we invaded Iraq, democracy would sweep the region. Anybody? Democracy has swept that region. Oh, nay? Nay. We let bin Laden escape through the mountains in Tora Bora for reasons unknown. Nobody knows why we had him dead to rights. That's who, proclaimed was the person that did 9/11. Why did we let him go for so many years? It's because if we had gotten them, then they couldn't get their wars. That's just my opinion, but I mean, I can't see any other reason why. I mean, there's Delta operators that talk about how they could have gotten them. They had a plan. Anyway, they had a plan too. Anywho, this debate really opened my eyes to the necessity for different people to speak, which I am thankful for Dave Smith. I am thankful for Clint, Old Liberty Lockdown. It's those people that are sometimes unsure of themselves, but continually get things right. So it doesn't, when it comes to this stuff, you don't have to really, you can be an expert in your own right. If you read books and understand things, you don't have to have a degree in foreign affairs. I mean, it helps, I'm sure, but watching that debate really showed me that Douglas Murray's been doing this a lot longer than Dave Smith has. And it showed me that he doesn't really know much more than Dave Smith, which, to be fair, I was pretty surprised about. Yes, he's been there. Sure. Lived experiences. That's about it. That, I guess I'll end on that. This will be kind of a shorter episode this week. We're going to get back into doing Sunday episodes, and then Monday, we're going to start getting back to having guests on. Anyway, guys, listen, if you don't understand something, read about it. Try to read the other side of it too. One of the best guests I had on, and of course, I'm gonna give him a huge shout out here. David Beckmeyer. He was wonderful. He came on and talked about outrage politics and just kind of outrage stuff, right? And his whole thing was, if you're very, very one-sided of anything, like he used Drag Time Story Hour for an example. He's like, instead of doom scrolling at night, spend some time steel manning the other side. Look up articles that are for it, just so you understand what other people are thinking. It's good to have public debate. It's good to have all these things. And if you see something that you think is wrong, do some research, read some books. Audible books count as books too. Anyway, it's good to be back. It's good to be back and shouting into this mic. And hopefully we can get Scott and Ethan and everybody back on. But until then, guys, have a good week. I'll see you next week.